In this video, we're going to have a look at the different tabs in the investigation, and we're also going to have a look at some of the settings in the different tabs. So let me open the investigation panel for one of the investigations, and we'll go through the different tabs and we'll just take them in order here. So the info tab is where we set the name of the investigation. In the data tab is where we specify the data sets and the different variables, the dimensions that we want to do analysis on. So using these buttons out here to the left, we can add data sets, so the ones that we covered already, and we can copy an existing data set if we want to make changes to it, and we can delete a data set that we added to the investigation. We can also go ahead and add continuous, discrete, and spatial dimensions. So let's just have a look at how to delete a dimension. So to delete a dimension, you see I added some empty dimensions that we want to delete. We go up to the header of this list of the specific dimension and hit the delete button. This is how we delete the dimensions. To specify or control the settings for the different dimension, you highlight them like this, and then you get access to the settings for it, where you can control the labels, units, the decimal places. You can control min and max. So default is just to apply the auto min and max, the min and max of the actual data set, but you can go in and set a specific min and max or manual min and max for that data type. And you can control bin size, you can control the axis, logarithmic or reverse axis. So here in the data tab selection, we also have a set of settings over here. The discard sample containing missing values is a setting where we control whether or not we include incomplete data sets. So toggle on and off. This is a little bit difficult to explain, so I will cover that in a separate video. Interpolation method is set to interpolate by default. That means that if you have different sample intervals or sample depth between different logs in your investigation, then interpolation will be applied in order to make sure that you will get some points plotted in your different windows. When this interval is set to 0, that means that the smallest sample interval identified in the input data is applied. By increasing this number, you can actually apply a decimation of your log dataset. So I set this up to 2 meters. You can see I can decimate my plot like this. I can also restrict my data to a certain interval in my wells, and that interval has to be defined either by a depth or by a set of well tops, and you can also apply an offset to those well tops that will be applied. Okay, let's move on to data style. This is basically where we control the data style of the plots. So all of this can actually be controlled directly from the plots, but this is where we set the color we show as point and or point density. We can also control the color by well here, symbol size and symbol type. In the selections tab, we have a list of all the filters and all the classification regions that we have made on the different windows for this data set. For each of the filters, there are some parameters that we can control: the name, the color, what we show and what we don't show, and so on. We can shuffle the different filters up and down in the filter hierarchy. In the equations tab, we have a list of regressions that we have generated from the crossplot. And again, for each regression, there are different parameters that you can control: the color of the regression line, the line plotting style, etc. You can apply a min and a max. So for example, from this regression that we are displaying in this plot, we have applied a min and a max. We can try and toggle that off to see what happens. That means that the regression will extend throughout the plot. We have also decided to plot the actual expression on the line that is controlled by this tab or controlled from the plot itself. In the annotation tab, we have a list of annotations that we have applied on the different windows. So you see in this window we have a set of annotations, these ones here, and in this plot here we can control, again, plotting style, thicknesses, font sizes, and so on. That was this one we just changed to red. In the classification groups tab, we control the templates that needs to be in place in order for us to perform the discrete classification workflow. That workflow I will also cover in a separate video. So here we can add classification groups. For the different classification groups, we can either specify and build our own discrete template, or we can use some of the existing ones in standard Petrel. The Petrel window style tab is a special one. This is where we control how the investigations are plotted in the Petrel windows. So if we have included X, Y, and depth dimensions, we can actually display investigations back into Petrel windows. So if I go to a Petrel Windows section window here, I can go and toggle on this specific investigation, and you see now all the tabs, all the buttons here become active. That means that we're displaying this particular investigation in a Petrel window. So you see that track for the investigation is empty. That is because all the filters that we have applied or built for this investigation is applied automatically in this window. So now you see it shows up. So that's what you see in this track. And from the Petrel window style tab, we can control the coloring. So we can color by the different dimensions that we have. We can go in and set color by dataset, and we can apply discrete filtering on the different parameters, so on faces for example, or on zones. And we can also go in and apply the filters that we have built for this investigation, like this. And I will cover the cross-posting of filtered data into Petrel space in a separate video as well. So that was the covering of the different tabs in the investigation. Thank you for watching.